Most B2B sales teams should be fired, not because they're lazy, because they're not running their sales team on standards and numbers. They strictly run it on vibes and story time. In this video, I'm going to give you a simple scorecard test, and if your sales team can't show you this weekly, then it's time to either break down that system or fire the entire team. I'm Milan, and even though I have been running Milan Media for the last 10 plus years helping marketing companies and sales teams, prior to that, I was in B2B sales for a decade. So I'm pulling all of my experience from being a salesperson, running my own team at another company, plus the last 10 years of running this team's company, as well as managing client sales teams, holding weekly meetings, and hearing all of the different areas that people are good or bad. In sales, you have two different types of people. You have hunters and you have farmers. The hunters are going to hunt and go and try and find you new business, and the farmers are going to wait for the business to come to them. And that's typically the biggest issue that sales teams have, is that when I look at any single team, this does not matter what they're selling in B2B or even B2C for the most part, is that you hire sometimes people that are hunters, but then eventually they become farmers. You don't notice it because you're not tracking things. And then before you know it, complacency sets in. They've been around for too long. Performance isn't there, and it's difficult to fire them. So you have to have a mix. Anybody that's outside sales should be hunters. They should be out there going after business. Anything from the marketing aspect, inbound leads, should just be a treat to them. But their main purpose is to bring deals to you, bring contacts to you by taking some sort of action in hunting. Whereas there is an aspect of farming, that's really the marketing side. Marketing brings in leads. Those are gimmies to them or freebies, and that's where the farmers come in. You can't have a sales team that's inside sales that are farmers, or account managers that are just there to say, hey, I'm going to take the existing house accounts and grow them. That's perfectly fine for it. They're not trying to get new business from new companies. They're just trying to get new business from existing companies. But you have to look at it and assess your team. Do you have hunters or do you have farmers? The best way to tell is how hungry are they for new business and how much action are they taking on a weekly basis. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, Kyle, I don't track that. And that's the beef of this video. You have to have some sort of scorecard structure, either monthly or weekly, preferably both. If you are setting weekly sales meetings, you have to have a scorecard that you're tracking really three key numbers against. The number one thing is going to be take a typical funnel where you got top of funnel people going into it, bottom of funnel is customers, and flip it upside down. And what I want to review first is the number of deals generated. And this is on a weekly basis because I want to see what happened with all the action. So top of this inverted funnel is going to be number of deals. That can tell the story. It doesn't matter how many things you're doing. If it's not generating results and getting deals, then it's probably a wasted effort. So each salesperson has a dashboard and has a report, and it just shows how many deals did they get last week. So if you're having your sales meeting on Mondays, because that's maybe planning time, or if you're having them on Fridays, you can review the week to date. But you have to say how many deals were created this week. Now, where it can go sideways is that when people are measuring scorecards, and the phrase, if it's not measured, it's not managed, you have to have some sort of goal. You can't just say, I'm going to measure this information, but not have a goal to it. So you should, with each salesperson, say, hey, your goal for the number of deals per week that you get should be this number. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 55, but you have to set some sort of goal so you can quickly look at that threshold and say, is he overproducing, underproducing, or right on track? The second aspect of the scorecard, so middle of the funnel, now that it's inverted, is going to be the meetings or qualifier aspect. So before somebody closes a deal, there's some sort of action that takes place, and it's going to be specific to your business, whether it's discovery call meetings or in-person events or in-person cold visits, but there's some conversation that your salespeople are having as a qualification step with that potential customer before they could turn into a deal and then close that deal. Again, you need to be tracking this on a weekly basis. So it could be, how many booked meetings do you have of this meeting type? The goal should be 12 and you only had 6. And if you see that consistently, then you know that there's an issue with the bottom of the inverted funnel, which is going to be how much activity were they doing? So you've got deals at the top, you've got number of qualifications in the middle, and then the bottom of this inverted funnel, you've got how much activity. And this is outbound activity. This is emails, phone calls, visits that you have, cold visits, any sort of outreach attempt. You can do mailers, whatever it is in your industry, you have to specify and say, what type of action or activity do we need in sales to then generate a qualifying conversation that then turns into a closed deal? As long as you follow those 3 areas, all of the other metrics really don't matter because they're just giving you more details to the core 3. So if you're looking at activity, you can say, hey, my team does a lot of phone calls. Okay, great. So calls made per week needs to be a certain number. Maybe it's 600, maybe it's 1,000. And then you've got some buffer zone, maybe over 10%, under 10%, to say, as long as you're within this window, then my expectations are that you're doing a good job. Now, as you track outside of that and you want to get granular with the effectiveness, then that's a different scorecard that you're going to have to look at, or at least from a reporting standpoint, to be able to say, hey, he made 600 calls, but the effectiveness isn't there. After we've been doing this for the last month with this person, or with this industry, or with this list of people, it's not generating qualifying conversations that then lead to deals. So I have to look and unpack that single metric or KPI. So the KPIs don't change. Your KPIs are still how many deals do you have in the pipeline, how many qualifying conversations do you have, and how much activity do you have. But from that, you can say, I'm looking at effectiveness. Out of those calls, how many of them did you talk to them? How many of them were converted and qualified? How many people went to voicemail? How many people had bad number, etc.? Then you can start to look at the different variables that go into it. Same thing with email. You can say, hey, you sent out 500 emails, personalized individual emails last week, or that's your weekly goal for activities. You want to have total activity is 1,500, 1,000, whatever the number is, and then maybe a sub breakdown of the different outbound activities that you take. And so if you're looking at it from an email standpoint, it's supposed to be 500, and he did 500, but still he's hitting the numbers, but it's not generating the results. Then you have to go and unpack the email. So how many people are open? What industry is it in? How many were delivered? How many were marked as spam? How many responses? How many clicks, etc. So you have to look at this and say, I'm going to go in and dive into how to impact the KPIs, but I'm not going to have dozens of KPIs, because once you get into it, it just becomes super overwhelming. So at a weekly level, you're going to say deals created, you're going to say qualification process happened, whether it's a meeting or a conversation, and then you're going to say total activity. Now, when we flip the weekly and say monthly, that's where you're just going to change a couple of things. You can say, how many deals monthly do I need to have? But then you're going to also have something that says closed revenue. So really you add in that fourth, you can change deals quoted to closed business, because quoted numbers don't really matter. All that really matters is, are you winning business? So you can say at a monthly KPI standpoint, you're measured on closing this many dollars. Now, if you're having a hard time with creating these KPIs, there's so many different ways to do it, but you have to look at what is the end result that I'm going to have. So if you look at over the entire year, how much business do I want this person to produce? Let's say it's $2 million of business. What's the average deal size of deals? Well, if your average deal size is X and your total business that you want them to bring in is Y, then dividing those two numbers, you know how many deals you need. And as long as there's not heavy seasonality, you just break that down even through every month. So if you know you need to have 200 deals, then just divide it by 12 and get that number. That's your monthly number. Divide it by 4. Now you've got weekly. How much activity you're going to have to take to get that weekly number. Typically, you can go back to historical and be able to see that. Or if not, then just take a guess. Just because you're setting the baseline initially doesn't mean that you can't change it. You can say, I think that you need to have 500 outbound activities per week that will generate 12 qualifying conversations, which will then generate 3 quoted deals. And as long as those numbers line up, as you look at it and the way that your team is executing, you might have to make micro adjustments to those goals, but at least you're tracking it. So when you go into the sales meeting, it's no longer story time. As I said in the beginning, most companies run on feelings, vibes, story time. Hey, what's going on with this? I've sat in so many sales meetings out there, either with our clients, led client sales meetings, led my own internal sales meetings or team before I started this company. And it's all the same thing. You get the salespeople who are like, yeah, I'm working, I'm going after this stuff. It just seems like they're busy because you're not tracking those KPIs. It's like, oh, what's with that one deal? And maybe it's a whale of a deal, so it's a big deal. And they just keep on talking about that every single week. Or they get into the I'm waiting phase, where you're just waiting for people to respond, people to open something, people to sign the proposal or sign the agreement. So you want to take things in your own hand, and you want to call those people out on the I'm waiting. You can't just wait forever. You can't just have a couple deals in your pipeline. So if you want to see if your team should be fired, you just say, hey, these are the KPIs that we're tracking. Here's the goals on a weekly basis. Here's the goal monthly. This is what the outcome's going to be. We're tracking this weekly. You get into the sales meeting, you just run through the scorecard. Every single person has the number of deals created. Every single person has the number of qualifiers. Every single person has the number of outbound activity. And you just go through and see what is anything that's red you need to talk about. Anything that's green you need to talk about in a positive way and applaud them for it. And you just break it down and hold them accountable. As soon as somebody knows that they're being held accountable to something and it's being tracked in some sort of way, then they're going to start to, at a minimum, increase their activity to try and get those deals done. But that's usually where you separate the high performers from everybody else. So you may implement this process and say, I had 8 salespeople. I really only need 4 because they're the ones that have been driving business for the last 12 months. Or you may end up saying, I really only need 1 person. I can replace the rest with AI or with a strong marketing agency like us at Milan Media. They can do a lot of the inbound activity and the salesperson just has to focus on a few key areas of outbound. But if you have enough deals coming in and the salespeople are busy, then they have to hunt less. So it's kind of this push and pull of, you can have salespeople going out there and hunting, but if your marketing is really good and they're bringing in deals, the salespeople are busy handling that inbound traffic, so they have to hunt less and you can make them more strategic with it. So here's the bottom line. If you're a business owner or a sales manager, you can't run sales on vibes or stories. You have to run it on actual proof. So start with those 3 KPIs, put them in some sort of system. HubSpot is awesome because it can track all activity. Start with those, move on from there, and then really assess after 30, 60, 90 days who from your team should cut. I think you'd be shocked that a lot of times it's the person that is the busiest produces the least amount of actual revenue for you. Move them out of the way, bring in new people knowing, and set them from the standard from the get-go. Here's what you're going to be tracked against. If you have an issue with that, then this isn't a place to work. You have to set that tone early. You have to change your standard quickly. Beginning of the year is a great time to do it, so jump into it ASAP, but it's never too late to start tracking these KPIs. Hold the team accountable and see what rises to the top and what falls out the bottom. If you guys get value out of this, share it with somebody that you know. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you on the next one.